if that's my friend from the past and she wants to speak to me like that on national television, I would be fuming.
Yeah.
Even if you do think that, like, wait till we've got home.
Good morning and welcome to Love Island, the Morning After podcast, the only place to get your daily Love Island gossip. I'm Indiyah Polack.
And I'm Amy Hart, and here to talk about yet another argument between Belle and Lucinda. It's Georgia Harrison.
Hey, good morning, lovely.
Good morning, girls. It feels like Groundhog Day for some reason.
I mean, yeah. Are you still enjoying this week?
Oh, I am still enjoying it, 100%. But yeah, it does feel like we've had the same conversation for about a week, but it's always got different variants to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's tasty enough for me to enjoy it, yeah.
Well, like you say, it is Groundhog Day with Lucinda and Belle. Lucinda's recoupling speech was odd, but you know, you've got to get your word count up, I think. You can't just say, I want to couple up with them because they're the person I want to couple up with. But Belle can't seem to let it go either. I felt bad for Harrison because he'd just picked her over Sher. And then she sat there like, she's talking about me again. She's talking about me. Sat like a foot away from Harrison. Like they should be in their like little bubble of like, oh, I'm so glad you picked me. Do you think Belle will ever let it go?
As long as Lucinda keeps winding up Belle, she's never going to let it go. You know, I think the best thing Belle can do at this point is just ignore Lucinda. If you're not going to take accountability for your actions, then just let it go. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, she's just so easily triggered. Now, as we've seen, like the smallest thing can make her get so angry because she's obviously harbouring like a lot of emotion from the whole situation. And I think with Lucinda, she probably just feels like no one really listened to her side of the story or cared about her side of the story. And I think for her, that was her moment to really just describe to the whole group and potentially the public how she'd been feeling. And obviously it really didn't land very well at all whatsoever, but it was never going to.
And keep glancing over at Belle like,
I don't want to be, not to you, like anyone with common sense can kind of see, look, if I was Belle and I could see Lucinda giving her speech and she's, you know, glancing at me and giving a little smirk, sorry, I'm going to realise she's trying to wind me up. You know, it's a bit obvious. So I just don't really get why Belle is falling for it so much. Just let it go.
Yeah, she just can't help herself but respond.
Yeah.
And she obviously she's hurting. I think like
100%.
things haven't gone her way.
No.
Both the guys she's gone for haven't gone for her. And every time Lucinda's just there, I guess, sort of prodding at her. But at the same time, she just doesn't handle the situations very well.
100%.
And she always ends up making herself look bad at this point.
Yeah, and do you know what? To be honest, we know what it's like to be in the villa. You can get easily wound up. You can't go outside and talk to your mates or call your family. So I can understand how Belle is getting so easily wound up and irritated, to be honest.
yeah, and also once you're already at that level, anything is gonna like set you off.
What I said, like you often see like a few of the girls argue and then things sort of work themselves out or like there's a way that communication can get to an end. But this ain't like an argument. This is a rivalry and it's continued throughout the series and it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
It's like head to head.
It's very much like last summer with the divide between the girls.
Yeah.
Like that just never sort of ended, did it? Even like when they had their powwow to sort of like put it behind them. But an hour later they were still
they
going
was just
at
like,
each
no,
other.
not feeling it.
Do you feel like Sean and Lucinda are a bit isolated from the group now?
100%. But do you know what? I just feel like they're in their couple, they're in their own bubble. And at this moment, it is Lucinda and Sean against the whole villa at this point.
Yeah.
But they've got each other and that's all that matters, you know?
And that is what the point of the show is.
Yeah.
And I do think they do have Millie though. And I feel
Yeah,
like
yes.
Millie is literally like Lucinda's mum in that she's the one that sort of will try and reason with her, but also try and support her. But also if anyone else has got a problem in the villa with Lucinda, they go and tell Millie about it. So that Millie will sort
They
it
want her to
out.
mediate.
Yeah, Millie mediates. I do think it is quite sad that at this point, though, there isn't much like sisterhood within the villa. Like we've got different friendship groups, but it doesn't really seem like anybody has each other's real back. It's kind of like, you know, when the situation suits you. We had Whitney and Sher having a bit of a falling out. We've got Belle and Lucinda. We've now got Sammy, Belle and Lucinda against each other. It seems like there's not really any sort of...
Do you not think Sammy and Belle?
Sammy and Belle are together, but at the start, you know, we thought Sammy and Lucinda had a friendship.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. And it just seems like no one has each other's back.
No.
Like there's no real bond.
It's very every
They'll
man
fall-
for themselves
Yeah, they'll
at the
fall out
moment.
with each other over absolutely anything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, at this point, we always say like romantic relationships and friendships are just as important.
Yeah.
But we're not really seeing the good friendships like we usually see.
But also, someone's going to win 50 grand in
Someone's
just
gonna
over a
win 50
week.
grand. 50 grand or a best friend, eh?
Exactly. Got
25
friends at
each.
home. Yeah, got friends at home.
Look, we've seen Lucinda multiple times now go over to Belle and try and, you know, speak to her, pull her for a chat. I don't know if she's trying to calm the situation down. But what is it about Lucinda that it seems like she just can't read the room? Like,
No,
a lot of the girls have said, look, leave it, Lucinda, not now, let it calm down. But she just won't let it go.
No, she just follows Belle around, doesn't she?
She can't help herself. And like when we watched it today, it was literally like a fly on chair. And she
Yeah.
was like saying like, just don't do it. And she was just following her
It
around.
was like she came into the came into that mini fire pit, didn't she? I went, hi guys. And they all got up and left. So she was like, okay, she doesn't want to talk to me. So what I'm going to do is wait till she's in the dressing room with,
and then try again.
with only one exit. And then I'll try and block the exit to talk to her. And still, Belle just walked past her and was like, leave me alone.
And I think that's Belle's way of like trying to stop herself from igniting in the way that she has a few times, because she knows there's something about Lucinda that really pushes her buttons. So when she's walking towards her, I don't even think it's in a nasty way. I think it's if I don't walk away, I don't know what 100%. I might do, how I might act, and how it's going to affect me.
Yeah, I think it does get to a point, because as much as we can sit here and be like, look, Lucinda's a wind-up, she knows what she's doing. At the end of the day, if someone is making it clear that they don't want to talk to you, it gets to a point where you need to just leave it alone.
It was quite funny though.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
When Belle was just like not speaking, just getting up and walking around her. Just the thing, we say like Belle can't leave it, but like twice there, she did really try.
Yeah, she
just
did.
to get up and calmly walk away. I don't want to talk to you. And then I loved when they were having their argument. It was two separate conversations. It wasn't an argument. It was two separate monologues that were just being shouted over each other.
Yeah, both of them were talking, but not a single one of them were listening. No. They were literally just like getting off their chest what they felt, and they weren't taking in at all what the other one was saying. It was actually really, really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like, someone needs a mediator. They should have had a million between them maybe, because when they're just together, it doesn't get anywhere.
The talking stick. You can only talk when you've got the talking stick.
Yeah, I've done that before and it really, really works. And it can be any object. It can be a stone, bottle. You can only talk if you're holding it.
Yeah.
You know what? That used to work in school, to be honest. It used to be like a shiny teddy or something. Fair enough. Maybe they need to introduce that.
Yeah.
Beanbag.
Beanbag.
Only talk if you're sitting on the beanbag.
I think it's holding the beanbag.
Can you imagine? Yeah, because people can't take it out of your hands.
Heart-racing moments, head-turning pre-love fits. eBay with Love Island All-Stars just keeps on giving. The villa may be heating up, but the pre-love moments, forever iconic. From Leanne stunning in a jaded London at her pre-love date, Millie reviving another jaded classic worn by Gabby during All-Stars Season 2, to Curtis making his return Bombshell entrance in the very same Dior shirt worn by Season 12's Cash. Now, those pre-loved archive slays are coming back full circle. This Friday, Season 12 winners Tony and Cash host eBay Live with Love Island All-Stars for a chance for you to bid on these very items and more All-Stars authenticity guaranteed threads from Gucci to Valentino and Versace, with all proceeds going to Great Ormond Street Hospital. So for looks to fall for all over again, set your reminder for eBay Live with Love Island All-Stars on Friday the 13th at 3 p.m. now. See you there. Now, when Sean came in, he said he'd grown a lot since his last series, and I think we sort of saw like that last night with when he said to Lucinda afterwards, like, I understand you like feel that way, but maybe don't poke the bear, don't laugh when you're saying it, you know, we should just be about us, and maybe you don't keep winding everyone up. Do we like this new sort of grown up side of Sean?
Yeah, like I've got to give it to him. When it comes to a man, what you want is someone that's absolutely going to have your back, even when you're acting irrational. Because as women, if you get into a relationship, there's always going to be a couple of times where you do act irrational, and they should always have your back. But then when there's closed doors, that's when he will sit down and tell her side of things. But whenever anyone else is listening, he's always got her back through and through.
100%.
And I think he's really like shown up really well in that relationship. And you can tell, like, regardless of what is happening in the villa, something they've got is quite special and there's no denying it.
Yeah, I like that about Sean. And one thing I do like about Sean is that he will not like be there whilst people are chatting shit about Lucinda. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was in the kitchen and the girls were giving their opinion. You know, Jessy was talking about her opinion about Lucinda, and he stood there and he stood up for her. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a very important trait to have in a relationship. You know, you want someone that's going to defend you and have your back and just not allow people to chat shit about you when you're not around.
Yeah, because some men we've seen in the past in Love Island, like, they'd rather be right than treat their woman well. So he, like, most men would have been like, oh yeah, I said that to her at the fire pit earlier. I did say that maybe she should like speak a little bit differently. But he's literally like, only says what he thinks good about her and doesn't mention any of the things that he might have mentioned to her that actually he thinks she should change. And yeah, it was good. But also, I don't think he came across like aggressive, rude, too much, like any of those things within that conversation. So I don't know how it managed to be made out like he was. It was really odd.
But just after Sean had said to her, please just stop winding people up, concentrate on us, Belle and Harrison having a chat on the daybeds. That villa, there are so many places to sit or lay down. She heads to the daybed next to them.
Oh, there
like,
you go.
It's like literally.
Oh, have you ever been in the villa when like someone's having a chat there, someone's having a chat there, someone's having a
Yeah,
chat there?
that has happened.
And you sort of know you shouldn't go sit in that chat because it's like an important chat. You don't want to like disrupt it, and you're like, oh, where do I go?
But at the same time,
it's
on the
Belle.
Belle's like, leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. And she's like, oh, I'm going to lay on the daybed next to Belle. Like, it's like she literally chases her around the villa.
But do you think she does it because she's delusional and she is in a bubble like she says, or is she really just trying to get her nut?
It takes a smart man to play the fool.
it takes a smart man to play for, but I also think to some extent, Lucinda doesn't care.
No.
Like, I think, not in a bad way, but I think it's like, okay, Bella said, leave me alone. But Lucinda doesn't care in the sense where, okay, I'm going to leave you alone, but also you're not going to stop me from sitting where I want to sit.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit on the daybed. I'm going to have a sun lounge. I think Lucinda just doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's going to keep out of Belle's way, but if Belle's in her way, she's going to go ahead and do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, she was just like sitting there, like just listening to a conversation.
You know, a part of me, I thought that she was going to bring it up just one more time.
I did. I did want her to.
Just for old time's sake. Because she could clearly hear what Harrison and Belle were talking about. And I thought she was going to talk about it just one last time. But she didn't.
She didn't. Now, slightly unexpected was Jessy, who we've been saying all week, like, she's very sweet, she's very, like, reserved. She decided that it was time to tell Lucinda, her friend from the outside, that she felt that she wasn't being herself, that, you know, she was putting on the baby voice. Do you think that was Jessy's place to say that?
So for me, there's really two sides to this.
Yeah.
The first thing I think with Jessy is it was really unexpected and it almost felt like it didn't really have anything to do with her. And I feel like the last episode she probably saw before she went in the villa would have been very like anti-Lucinda, Team Belle, and everyone was sort of like slating Lucinda, saying a lot of the things she said. So part of me feels like she went over and said that just because she wanted to be like the voice of the public, and she thought, oh, if I say this, everyone's going to agree with me. Because it was like she was really standing on her opinion, but it was unnecessary when she hadn't been there for half of it. But then you've got the flip side where I have actually seen them together. So is it actually a bit of, I know you inside out and I know that you do things like this to annoy people and that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, especially as you say, like when Jessy went in, Lucinda didn't have much favour with the public, which is actually turning now, I think. Belle was like a big public hero. And now Lucinda seems to be getting a lot of that sort of, okay, that moment's passed. She's actually being treated quite unfairly at points. But do you think maybe Jessy went in there to sort of say to her, like, I know that you're better than this. Like, you're rage baiting, you're making yourself look a certain way. And I know that's not you.
Yeah, I mean, even if she did go on there, I think if we're going to talk about the fact that they're friends, I think there is a way to talk to your friends.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like the way Jessy was speaking to Lucinda was very friendly. I feel like if there was things that she wanted to tell Lucinda about maybe how she was being perceived, there's a way that you do it. And I feel like just coming at her and calling her out and talking about, you know, her personality and her characteristics, I didn't think it was very friendly. And I thought it was very unnecessary, especially if you know from the outside the reaction that Lucinda's been getting. Do you know what I mean? I think it's not about what you say, I think it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And her energy was just really like coming at her sort of thing.
I don't
And
think
it was true.
necessary.
Like Lucinda was like, come sit down. She didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be like that at all. And it changed really quickly. And I'm not going to lie, whether she's like speaking facts or not, if that's my friend from the past and she wants to speak to me like that on national television, I would be fuming.
Yeah.
Even if you do think that, like, wait till we've got home. Like, do not put me down and where you know that other people are going to jump on it just so you can look like the better person.
Yeah. It was a bit full on, and I can understand how Lucinda could feel like it came out of nowhere, because really and truly, where did it come from? You know, whatever you've seen on the outside has nothing to do with what's happening on the inside. Like, Lucinda's new to this information. It's just all a bit random.
She'd only been there 2 days.
Yeah.
So if anyone was going to say it, it was just weird that it came from her.
Yeah.
And then, she got really, really emotional later when she had that conversation with Sean. And that whole thing just felt really unnecessary as well, because
Yeah.
the conversation wasn't that deep. And to be honest, I think one of the things Sean said to her was like, basically like, the way that you've just spoken to Lucinda isn't coming across well. And I personally don't think she was crying about the fact that Sean had said something to her. I think she was crying because in her head she was thinking, have I just messed up a little bit there?
Yeah. Because see, her and Sean were very close in their series. They know each other inside out again. Sean was probably a bit like, Jessy, come on, this isn't you.
Do we feel like Jessy's just in a bit of like a meddling mood? Because we did see in last night's episode also, she was speaking to Helena and she kind of came forward and was sort of expressing how she felt like, look, I feel like you're planting seeds of doubt in Tommy's head, you know, Tommy's unsure about our situation. She kind of felt like it was Helena's fault. However, Helena was kind of just saying what Tommy told her.
Yeah.
It was
actually
Jessy planted the
planted
seeds.
seeds.
Jessy, it was
Yeah.
Jessy's words,
Literally.
you know?
I mean,
So-
I don't feel like Jessy needed to go and tell Tommy that. She should have just been like, yeah,
I
I'm really
picked
going to
you.
pick you.
Yeah, I picked you because I wanted to.
It
Like,
was so
sometimes-
unnecessary to
yeah.
like relay her thoughts in that way because it just made him feel like shy. And we already know that he's been having a tough time anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's come as a very late bombshell, and I feel like she knows that to make an impact, she has to bring the drama. So if she just came in and coupled up with Tommy and simmered that way, maybe she wasn't going to make that much of an impact. So
No.
maybe that's why she is being so outspoken. But I don't think it's making her look very good. I'll be honest.
No, and also I think in her last series, she was very placid. Obviously, it was very Joey and Grace having rows a lot of the time, and her just sort of stood there like, cool. So I feel like maybe this time she wants to make more of an impact. And she's only got a week to do it. It's interesting because obviously Jessy's come in at a time where the girl group is quite divided and there is a larger side and there's a smaller side. Obviously, one would argue that Lucinda and Millie were one side and everyone else was the other side. And we've always said, you know, in sort of vote-offs and sort of like we have to pick your least compatible couple and stuff, your strength is in your friendships.
Yeah.
So do you think that the reason she went and sat next to Belle on the daybed after the whole thing with Sean is she's trying to align herself with the bigger group? Because again, a week to go, she's got a short time to make these bonds. So it's like strength in numbers.
I mean, 100%, but then that just goes to show that maybe you weren't really Lucinda's friend and then you should have just kept your mouth closed in the first place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I would assume after a situation like that, yeah, she's gone over to Sean and, you know, they had that little spat. If my friend's boyfriend came over to me, this is personal, this is what I would personally do. If my boyfriend's friend came over to me and was like, look, Indiyah, I don't really like the way you spoke to XYZ and that girl was supposed to be my friend, I would then go back over to my friend and be like, look, that's not how I meant it. That's not what was meant to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make you feel upset. So for me, for her to go and sit next to Belle, who is quite clearly not friends with Lucinda, and then kind of, you know, make little comments to Belle and be like, oh, I thought you would have had my back. I was just a bit confused about it. Like, are you Lucinda's friend? Are you trying to be in with the other side of the girls just because, like you said, like numbers and it's a bit more popular on that side? It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of not really telling where Jessy's going with this situation.
Yeah, it's like the whole reason she's done it is to get on Belle's side. And I think that's one because obviously Belle does have like a really strong presence in that villa and you can really see it in terms of like popularity. And also I definitely think she believes that that is what the public will get behind. So she's literally walked in and been like, Lucinda, forget our friendship outside. I'm done with it. Yeah. I'm gonna go sit with the girls that I don't even know and I'm gonna go against you. And I think this is the first time we've really seen Lucinda break. And something like that would really, really hurt me. And I think she didn't realise though at the same time how nuts Belle was gonna go because she lost it. And when Belle loses it, she lets the whole garden know about it. Like, I reckon the neighbours complain. Like, there's got to be like some real issues out there. They probably could hear it like from the UK because it was...
Her mic's actually turned off.
Bellows.
Like,
Do we think this situation though, I know it's been happening quite often. Do we think now that Lucinda is maybe gonna like just take a step back from all of this and stop winding Belle up and actually just keep away from all the drama? Because even seeing her break down and cry, you know, she was crying to Millie saying, look, this is how I am, like baby voice and all, this is who I am. So maybe it's just a thing where like, you know, it's like you're either gonna love Lucinda or you're gonna hate her, you know?
But then sometimes she uses the baby voice and sometimes she doesn't.
Sometimes she doesn't.
And she used the baby voice when she spoke about the baby voice. That was the weird thing. It was like, you talking this baby voice. She's like, I'm talking baby voice.
Really? I think the best thing for her now to do, there's like just over a week left. Just enjoy your time with Sean, stay out of the drama. Like, obviously, they don't need to be getting involved in anyone else's business because it's just them two against the villa. They can just stay on their own and have a nice time.
So there's some sort of game coming up and it looks like it's going to be to do with having to put certain people in positions based on how you think they've acted, you know? So the person who's been the most snaky, the couple that are the best couple, the couple that are the worst couple. And there's no way that she's going to be able to take a back bench on that and not get involved in the drama. Whereas the best thing for her now really would just be to concentrate on her and Sean, dance off into the sunset and see where they end up. But she's not going to have that chance, I don't think.
No. Maybe it should be like, you know, when they say about kissing inside and outside of challenges, like getting involved inside and outside of challenges. Inside of challenges, that's fine. Outside of challenges, just chill. Chill your beans.
And we have got to remember as well, this is Lucinda's fourth Love Island, a little bit like Scott. And as much as she is seeming very vulnerable right now, once you've done something like that, like she's done it in the UK, Australia, she's done Love Island games, now she's here. She is quite resilient and she's used to having to deal with this sort of drama. So I think really... she does obviously thrive off it slightly because it's something that she's done for a long
100%.
time.
And also, I think with Scott, it's so obvious because he's obviously like always bellowing around the villa about like, you need to do this and you need to do that and like this is happening, and he's sort of always making it about him, whereas Lucinda is just sort of being herself to then create the situations that we love to watch.
100%. She's given us great TV.
Oh my God, yeah. Like if it weren't for her, I don't know what we were doing.
Indiyah, what's your opinion on Sher and Jack?
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Time's done. Like, the relationship's done. It's over.
What relationship? It was never a relationship.
That's the thing.
I don't even think it was a situation.
That is the thing. I just feel like, I don't know how much longer this can last. And I know, look, we saw last night, Zach was giving his opinions to Millie, saying that he feels really sorry for Jack because he feels like Cher's leading him on. But I will say, Jack knows when he doesn't want to be in a situation. We saw it with him and Whitney. You know, when he wants to be out of something, he wants to be out of it. We saw him speak to 3 different ladies in Villa USA. He spoke to Imani, he spoke to Kira, and he spoke to Sher. And we saw him lose all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I just feel like as much as it is a crappy situation for him to be in, I don't understand why he himself won't cut it off when Sher is giving him every reason to.
Because when he cut it off with Whitney and when he was getting to know all the girls, he had all the time in the world. There is a fixed end point to this. And it comes in just over a week. I keep saying it. It's the phrase that pays. He knows that they haven't got much longer in there.
Yeah.
There is no one else for him. And like they said last night, now everyone is in a romantic relationship. So it's not even like there's other friendship couples and stuff.
What they have isn't even a friendship. It
That's what I'm
isn't even a
saying.
way that I would address my acquaintance. I'm not joking. Like, there's certain things where you can look at couples and you can be like, do you know what? They get along.
Yeah.
But
They
are
can
they
ride
really
it.
going to last?
Yeah.
Would they really have like a sexual attraction outside? Probably not. But they obviously like each other's company.
Yeah.
So they're just still pushing it. When you look at them two, you can hear the crickets in the villa louder than you've ever heard them before. They literally sit in pure silence and cannot fathom the next sentence. And that's where it's like really confusing because it's actually painful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually do feel sorry for Jack. You know I do. Like, I just want to go in there, bottle him up, put him in my pocket and just take him home and put him on the fireplace and just give him some words of affirmation. Because I do. He's always been this little underdog for me. And I think things don't always work out for him. And the one person I do think needs to cut it off is Cher.
Yeah.
I think she obviously did really want to get with Harrison still. It was obvious that she was hoping he would pick her. But I think for Harrison, definitely Belle's more fiery, but also she's a better person to pick in terms of the game. And obviously, if he picked Cher, where was that conversation going to go? Like, nothing was going to happen from there because they probably wouldn't have got much out of their conversation either.
She's like Victoria Beckham. She never smiles.
Yeah, she's just painfully beautiful and silent.
Yeah.
But do you know what? They're both adults. Someone needs to end it sooner than later. They're both clearly unhappy, you know? I feel like Cher is kind of like thinking of what the cons are and she can't get them out. Jack is clearly unhappy. He feels awkward around her. Somebody needs to end it, you know? Someone's got to put on their big boy pants and just end this situation.
Yeah.
And that is all for this morning. And we'll be back tomorrow to potentially discuss another bust-up between Belle and Lucinda.
Hopefully not.
Maybe. Georgia, will you be here to join us?
Girls, I can't think of anything I'd rather do.
Don't forget to keep leaving us your comments and thoughts. Let us know, what do you think the game is that Maya is coming in to play? And we will see you first thing tomorrow morning.
Bye.